At any point, I don't have the foggiest idea what ended up Willing resemble. He was partaking in the joke, right? He wouldn't tell the wisecrack. What was snickering seems to be the Oscar embarrassment won't subside. It has been close to 12 months. Since Chris Rock ridiculed, Will Smith's significant other's looks provoking, will to smack shake in front of an audience in the meantime humorists like Marlon Wayans and Chris Rock himself are as yet poking fun at the occurrence right up until today. This is what you really want to know discussing Marlon Wayans. Obviously, he has that HBO Max parody, exceptional called God Should Cherish Me coming up, and he's utilizing his executioner, impressions, and actual satire to handle the extraordinary Will Smith slap. He even gave us a sneak look on Instagram with his entertaining interpretation of what went down around evening time in the Phantom of Tupac Shakur. It's an obvious fact that Wayans has a gift for making individuals chuckle, and he's utilizing it to reveal some insight into this dim second he's in any event. Estimating that Jada Pinkett Smith could have placed a Buddhist spell on her hubby after Chris Rock's joke bowl. And get this, Wayans even thinks that the Phantom of Tupac Shakur had Will's body during the episode. Well, that is some wild hypothesis. I think she put an explain on that, cause that of no place. He just switched his entire around. Are you listening, Jada? On the other hand, that is not all that Wayans has said about the circumstance as per him. I believe Will's groove doesn't have anything to do with Chris. Perhaps something occurred in Will's life that was a snap second that sibling snapped. That is not will those created Will's hurt. It doesn't have anything to do with Chris. I think perhaps something has occurred in Will's life you realize. I imply that was a snap second, that sibling snap, that is not Will's formed. You understand what I mean? I don't believe it's always cool to hit someone yet. I really do feel that eventually we can't allow that just to stay there. I think for our kids, for our kin, for individuals, then we can't sit in torment and not settle. And I figure we can all commit errors, yet sooner or later we should plump down and get together and fix this. There's no rejecting that this American comic had a ton to say regarding Will Smith's smack at the Oscars. He professes to have sufficient material to keep a crowd of people giggling for an hour with kids about the episode, which he has been doing with Dave Chappelle and others. Wayans has noticed that he values satire for its capacity to reveal insight into what might have appeared as though a disheartening circumstance. One more colleague of his is the best entertainer Victor from the earlier year. He recommended that the victors see an advisor following his Oscar win. He evidently understood his activities weren't regular of him. It's been said that Wayans, who didn't see the value in seeing his two companions contend, ensured Chris Rock was fine after the episode, assuming that a go-between's obligation is to make individuals giggle so they can cooperate. Then he ought to be extremely satisfied with his new stand-up unique. And right when we believe it's undeniably finished and tidied, fans have a ton to say regarding the parody unique episode. Investigate a portion of the reactions that we had assembled for you. Each of the primary reactions that truly got our premium, which a considerable amount of individuals appear to be concurring with, said that Will Smith's snicker impression was right on the money. Likewise, the fellow raises a valid statement. Smith presumably still feels a specific kind of way about Pac being his better half's genuine romance, while another said the incongruity of Chris Rock's unique being named particular shock. And here all of you go in the remarks specifically offended, simply giggle and save the pink pieces. Continuing on, we should not discuss how after time appears to have elapsed. How has Chris Rock figured out how to take the whole episode forward? We as a whole know that while Smith gave Chris Rock an insult in front of an audience, after the last option offered a few comments about the presence of Smith's better half. And that was that after the entirety of this time, however, Chris Rock has finally offered his viewpoint with regards to this issue. And his reaction is one that will make you go, well, you realize not me don't battle before white individuals. Yet before he dives into his executioner, said in the video, he tended to the elephant in the room. Did you have a good end of the week, folks? He just did sending the group into a free for all of chuckling listen. I know you all need the succulent deets about my end of the week trickeries, yet I gotta level with you. I did nothing worth discussing, the star added Rock then. At that point, stopped his face serious briefly, genuinely. I'm actually attempting to deal with it. All I got an entire show, made arrangements for you that I composed before this insane end of the week. And when all is good and well, I'll let the cat out of the bag, and it will be both significant and clever. He included the in the meantime, there are countless extra responses and changes to process not long from now, before Rock started his inner self profundity world visit at the Wilbur, the Foundation of Movie Expressions and Sciences, declared that it would establish disciplinary procedures against Smith. The Institute then again uncovered that the entertainer had been approached to leave the show subsequent to slapping Rock, yet he wouldn't help out the solicitation in under an hour. In the wake of delivering, Rock Smith was given the award for Best Entertainer for his exhibition in the film Lord Richard, in which he assumed the part of Richard Williams, the dad of tennis whizzes Venus and Serena Williams, where Smith generous got the honor. Rock has as yet decided not to seek after lawful activity anyway. In the event that his reaction at the Wilbur is any pointer, apparently, he is holding the option to poke fun at the episode later on, which, assuming you ask us, appears to be fair. Yet can Smith and Chris Rock put everything behind them and continue on his actual companions and partners? Well, to be straightforward, Will Smith and Chris Rock might not have the best relationship since the entertainer of Ruler Richard smacked the star comic on the Oscar stage last year. Yet one of Smith's co-stars accepts that they will ultimately become extraordinary companions in a discussion with the child about Smith and Rock's strained relationship in the result of the viral second Smith's co-star in Wild West. By Connect uncovered Smith's expectations in regards to the chance of Sunday accommodating with Rock, as per Ling. I think it was unseemly that he went to the stage, and he was likely stunned. I think in the end, Rock and Smith will turn out to be excellent companions. It will require a little investment imprint. Maywards they will be. Will has an exceptionally good nature, and he truly endeavored to treat his poop genuinely and earnestly apologize. I ensure he felt horrendous. I figure the two of them will comprehend each other. Chris, I am sorry to you, yet lovely Chris, is he in total agreement as Will Smith. And biling a couple of hours after the video was reposted, Chris shared his considerations on the issue while performing in front of an audience for a gig, in spite of the way that he has denied remarking regarding the matter as expressed by the reports, as per him, on the off chance that everyone professes to be a casualty. No one will hear the genuine casualties, even me being slapped by Suge Smith. Guarantee we'll have the option to be companions again. I don't mind, I couldn't care less, so Wibble is endeavoring to make up with an old work companion. Chris has a bone-chilling viewpoint on what happened. Talking about that will needs him to openly acknowledge the conciliatory sentiment, not in needing to excuse or try and pardon as something else, so the truth will surface at some point, assuming these two titans of the business will actually want to resolve their disparities. Or not. Having said all that, how about we currently rapidly take a gander at the features of the current year's Oscars, and whether they live to the characteristic of everybody when contrasted with what occurred last year. Most definitely it was a night brimming with marvelousness and fabulousness, on account of how individuals spruced up, yet individuals actually think it wasn't generally so fascinating as it ought to have been for this present year when it came to the show script. That is on the grounds that the Foundation of Movie Expressions and Sciences pursued the choice not to draw out honorary pathway this year, breaking with 62 years of custom. Rather than the customary red, another champagne tone was utilized, which didn't bid excessively, assuming you ask us. Then again, Jenny the Jackass, who showed up in the Banshees of Inisherin, was excluded from any of the classifications for which the film was designated, including the class for Best Supporting Entertainer, She did anyway, get her experience in front of an audience when she joined Have Jimmy Kimmel wearing a vest for everyday reassurance creatures everybody in the room praised and shouted as she strolled in yet the entertainer competitor for Best Entertainer Colin Farrell, whose face illuminated